Welcome to tonight's program. My name is Yabi, and I'm the host for tonight's program. I hope everyone is fine and safe. Avoid going out or roaming around. Always remember to wash your hands and avoid touching your face. Most importantly, stay at home. These broadcasts are brought to you by our fellow JPO members and some of the world's greatest musicians that wish us to share their knowledge and help aspiring musicians through their musical journey. We are also providing opportunities for everyone with different interests to learn not performance but transferable life skills. We are doing this series of program because JPO think this will be able to help in uplifting the spirit of everyone in this long period of lockdown. If you have any questions to ask, please type them in the Q&A below. JPO are indeed very honored to be able to invite Diego Zecharies as our special guest for tonight, with his topic being how to be open minded and flexible in order to reach all your goals as a bass player. Diego Zecharies is a highly dedicated professional musician who has mastered his art globally, branching out as recording artist, professor, soloist, principal bass, producer, and pedagogue. Born in Montevideo, Uruguay, nowadays based in Spain. Began his studies in his hometown, continues in Jerusalem, and graduated with the highest qualification in the Berlin University of Arts under the guidance of Professor Rainer Zipperit, Professor Klaus Stoll, and violin professor Ilan Gronig. During his studies, Diego performed as a principal bass at the Mahler Jugend Orchestra, the Jung Dirsch Philharmonic, and the Genesis Musicals World Orchestra. He won the Frieze Stipendium at Deutsche Symphony Orchestra Berlin and played as a substitute with the Rundfunk Symphony Orchestra Berlin. Renowned as a very active and passionate soloist, Diego's research has brought him to perform some world premiere material, including entire unaccompanied double bass recitals, like at the Bass Europe Convention in Amsterdam 2014 and ISB World Convention 2015 in Denver, USA, with a great with great appreciation both critics and public. Diego appeared as soloist with the chamber orchestra of Galicia Symphony, the Camerata of the Ministry of Education and Culture of Montevideo, the Galicia Symphony Orchestra, the OJS of Montevideo, and many more. Throughout his performance years, he has performed under many renowned conductors such as Zubin Mehta, Lorin Mazel, and soloists such as Yo-Yo Ma, Yuri Bashmet, and many more. Diego has given numerous masterclasses in Europe, South America, and South Korea, been assigned as coach on many youth orchestras across Spain and Germany, and has recently been appointed as director of the International Double Bass Festivals of Montevideo and director of the Double Bass Cathedra of the Uruguayan National Orchestral Training Plan. Let us welcome Diego Zecharies. Hello, hello, Diego.
Uh, Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a big honor to
It's
take part.
a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thanks.
So, could you share about the video that we have watched just now?
Yes, we choose these four videos that they are all contemporary pieces written in 20th century and 21st century that they show more or less the nowadays double bass playing, getting a bit out of the classical repertoire and a new repertoire that is a challenge for us because, for example, the first piece that is a Carmen Fantasy for double bass and orchestra, written by Frank Proto. He's a great composer and a great bass player. Has this part that we shown is an open improvisation that we as classical musicians are not used to do. But in the beginning, all the players they should write their own cadences in the classical concerts, and now we are coming back slowly to be able to reach all the spectrum, to write our own music or to improvise. So this Carmen Fantasy is a very challenging piece, and it has this open solo that is bringing to the performer the possibility to share inside of a piece their own view of the harmony and the possibilities and their own message inside of the composer message. Then we also listened to another piece, a contemporary piece from Simon Garcia, that is a great composer for also a great bass player, and he's composing pieces that are very interesting because he has the ability to connect with the audience from the first second with his music. And this is his new concerto. He dedicated to me. I'm very happy about that. That is a concert for amplified double bass and string orchestra. That in the second movement uh, offers the possibility to do a jazz solo, like a pizzicato and improvisation. That is also challenging. Another kind of open-minded way of looking into the bass music. Then we were listening to Piazzolla's Le Grand Tango for cello. This piece was written by Piazzolla and dedicated to Rostropovich, this legendary cello player. And I think that if Piazzolla was alive today, he would love to see that his cello concerto is his
Played by the
own.
bass.
You know, yeah, what a piece, huh? Perfectly playable on the bass. And actually, for my personal taste, and I hope no cello player gets angry with what I'm about to say, but gives a bit more the tango feeling because the double bass in tango is very important. Actually, the double bass is an instrument that is important in many styles, no? From
Yes, yes.
jazz to salsa to symphony orchestras. You need a bass to build everything. So this piece is somehow a way to explore the repertoire that is not really specifically written for us. This was written for another instrument, but once we this last century, our instrument developed a lot, developed much more than violin. For example, the violin is well played since I don't know since Paganini times, and the instrument didn't change physically. All the violins they should measure the same, but with basses, every bass is a different story. You have many inches difference in the string length, and the perfect instrument, if there is a perfect instrument for us, uh, was started to be built at the beginning of the 20th century. And also the repertoire, because every time we get more able to play on the bass,
Yes.
repertoire is getting more interesting. So we have a lot to catch up in compared with other string instruments because we are developing still.
Yes, yes.
So this Piazzolla was an idea of exploring new repertoire. At
Repertoires.
the end, we were listening to a fantastic duo written by another great composer, Andres Martin. He's an Argentinian guy living in Mexico, in Tijuana, also making great educational programs and really going into education as the only way of really changing things around him. And he wrote this piece that is Tango Across the Border. Once he got stopped by the U.S. Border Patrol, and he had to wait like 5 hours to cross the border with no
Wow.
reason because after that he crossed the border. But he was feeling so bad and angry, so he sit down and he wrote. That was his first piece. He wrote for double
Wow.
bass, and and you can feel the anger in the music. and he could feel my anger while I was practicing it. But it's a great piece, full of power, and explores also a register that is kind of difficult to get clear on two basses playing so high and so fast.
Yes, yes.
So somehow in this minutes of videos we saw music from 1920, sorry, 1990, that was the Frank Proto, or even before with Piazzolla, to 2020.
Wow. So I'd like to ask, just now you mentioned about the amplified double bass. So what is that actually?
Actually, we have a little problem. Basses are not a really projecting instrument.
Yes.
So normally, when we get to play with an orchestra, you get the introduction of the concerto of the piece with the big orchestra, wow, big sound, and then comes the
Yes, yes,
bass.
yes.
You can really hear it. So it's difficult for us because we need to play louder than we are used to practice, much louder, and it's changing everything, changing the approach. You need to practice it different. You need to think different. You need to be. I think that the difference is even more than with the violin, because the violin gets through the higher registers.
Yes, yes.
They
It's
fly, but
sharp.
the
They just,
lower
yeah.
registers don't. Yeah, so that's why we're using also solo tuning, that is one tone higher. And I'm lucky I have a great instrument. But anyway, we need to focus in many other things than the music to get, just to get heard. No.
Yes,
But
yes.
with this amplifying thing, you you go in a totally different direction, because you know you're going to be heard, and so you can allow yourself to play with less let's say less power, but with a lot of result. So because you can sound in this Simon Garcia concerto is a funky piece and a rock piece. So you feel really like a guitar player of the AC/DC band. So this is another thing to explore. Also, the Carmen Fantasy, on the score is written that the composer suggests that the double bass should be amplified for the concert, and makes a big difference once you are amplified just a little bit. But that you know that you have the spectrum you have from piano to forte is much more, because you can really
Yes,
do
yes.
piano, you know.
So I'm actually curious. So is it like the amplified bass is a different instrument, or is it like because of the mic and then you amplify it?
It's because of the mic. The instrument is the same, just you just amplify it in the way you can, or you think it is the better way to be amplified.
Wow. Okay. And then about another one about when you shared about the third piece. So you said bass changed for these few centuries. So what do you think is the most like the biggest change for the bass?
The biggest change is since Dragonetti, Bottesini, our heroes, and the bass playing, they went down into the high register, and they start to perform as a soloist. So then we change from gut strings to iron strings. This wasn't like 50 years ago, wasn't that far. And for us it's a totally different world, because gut string for us, they're really thick. I know that the caliber of the strings change for everyone, not just for us. But for us to get a right tension and the right tune, the right pitch, you need to have really, really big strings. That it's making you, if you want to play a solo piece, very, very difficult, because you need to have also the strings very high. And now changing to from gut to iron, and from iron to composers that they write on all the abilities on the bass, that makes a huge spectrum that you can dig into, and show the bass in a totally different perspective. No, not just behind the orchestra, also in the front of the orchestra, doing great music.
Wow. So was it like a very big difference between the sound of the from the gutter string to the iron strings?
Yes, it's a big, huge difference in pitch, in the color, and it's a totally different technique, bow technique that applies to all the string instruments. But in our case, even more because what I was telling you, the caliber is so big
Yes, yes.
that the speed of the bow that you need to play on gut strings is much slower. And to apply, and we are always trying to reach that sound, the original sound. When you play in the orchestra, you play Beethoven or Mozart. You want to get that sound on iron strings. So it's not always easy to do it, but it's a totally different technique that that for me is just making our life more interesting. It's not it's a challenge, but it's a positive challenge. You know, it's a way to develop more skills.
Okay, okay. So now we will move on to the next question. So
Yeah,
you pride yourself with being an open-minded and flexible musician. Would you like to elaborate on these attributes?
you know, flexibility and open mind is something that must be nurtured every day, like a child or a flower. It must be practiced daily, like giving love or a sport. Um, you need to really think on that, like a religion. To be inflexible is is to accept how things uh, happen in
Yes,
everything, in every
yes.
spectrum of life. You know, more in these pandemic times where nothing is like we expected, and it's the first time in history that something is happening to the entire globe in the same time, and it's happening the
Yes,
same. We need
yes.
to be all locked at home, and we need to learn from that. And more flexible we are in this situation, more capable are we to do something good out of it. No, so flexibility in all disciplines is a positive asset to have. And to be flexible is also to be open. No, or when you say open-minded, to be open. For example, when you if we talk about just being a musician, no? You go to play a solo concert with an orchestra you don't know. So you get there the first day, hello, hello. You're going to play a piece that probably they propose you or you propose, but you know what is going to be your version of it. So you sit down there and you start to play, and in the first 10 seconds, you get a lot of ideas from the orchestra, from the conductor, from the hall, from the situation, from the energy, and you need to be open-minded to take this and to work with this. It's to be open-minded is maybe is to listen more than to talk, you know, is to listen more than to say yours, is to accept what is happening around, and with that energy constructing something unique, because every concert is unique. You can't play twice the same.
Yes.
So trying to make every single moment of your life unique is the key to be open-minded. It's like a beginner's mind all the time. Yeah, like Socrates, you just know that you don't know anything. So you just go there on the stage. You are kind of naked because when you get to play is you're sharing your feelings. You're sharing love. So the only way of getting love back, nurturing yourself, is just giving first. So being open-minded is to be open-minded to your students, to your family, to your friends, to people around. So this being flexible and open-minded, it's somehow the key that allow us to exercise our art and to live our life. Actually, reality is 3%. The other
Yes, yes.
97% is how we take it.
Yeah.
So all that. It's all into it,
Yes, I
acquiring.
understand.
Hmm.
So how important are these attributes to your employability and own development as a musician?
I believe that attributes, flexibility and open-minded, are important in all areas of life, but without doubt, uh, are essential for the daily life of an orchestra player, a soloist, or a student. uh, Being able to make any experience positive is the key of flexibility.
Yes.
So, for example, nowadays with the situation we are living on, nothing is like usual. So, more you're flexible, more you get comfortable with the situations. For example, now concerts are shorter with the distances or no distances, depends of the ensemble and the situation you are in, the country you are
Yes.
playing. You have publicum, you don't have publicum. Sometimes you have a conductor that you don't like his or her version. Sometimes you love it. There are many things that are out of your control, and accepting that and working with them and not against them, it's I think it's essential for a musician, because the only way that you can share something or make people around you sound better is that you are open and flexible to what is happening, because at the end, the real goal is to make the musicians around you to sound better because you are there.
Yes.
So this
Wow.
is more or
To,
less the idea of applying, being flexible and open minded.
yes, yes, to adapt to the environment.
Exactly, and to make it positive, not just to
Yes,
adapt
yes, yes,
and
yes.
being like this, just adapt and sharing the possibility of others to adapt,
Yes.
making
The
space,
energy.
making space for people.
Yes, okay. So, with your position as a pedagogue, how do you aim to instill such a characteristic to your students?
Hmm. First is always example. No, you can teach many things, or you can aim to teach many things, but essentially you're teaching who you are, what you're doing, and how you face situations. No, and keeping the beginner's mind. This is very important. Like, I don't know anything, I want to learn everything. And with the students, from the first day, we're facing a piece, we're facing that together, and we're trying to make the best out of it together. It's not that I because I know the piece, or I think I know the piece, I'm going to teach you how to do it. Because personally, I think I can't teach anyone to play the bass. Mm, Best I can do is to teach you how I practice on it, and make your voice to be heard, to help you to take out your version,
Your own voice, yes.
exactly how to understand music in one way, that is my way, or many other ways, to learn from other people, to be open, and always teaching and learning in some languages is the same word, and I find that very interesting, because it's always a two-ways relationship. I think I learn a lot from my students, and the way they face things, and how they develop. So somehow that's the idea of understanding that we are all in the same ship, on the same ocean, in the same earth, and there is place for everyone that want to express themselves with sharing love. You know,
Yes.
so somehow the only thing I can do is I can help them to study and identify and solve some technical problems, and then help them to be themselves on the stage. That the way I do, the way I found that probably they know. And from the first day, I'm telling them that it's not the only way. It's just my way, and they need to learn from many ways to find their own way.
Yeah. Wow, that is amazing.
I think it's normal. It's the basic thing.
Wow. So while you yourself have diversified yourself in terms of repertoire and skills for various musical styles, how would this compare against purists that have opted to dedicate themselves to a single style, like they just play baroque music, and why adopt one mentality over the other?
Mm, Look, I admire and respect everyone who dedicates himself with love to something. And at the same time, I try to know more and every day about what inspires me. Being multidisciplinary or not does not mean itself anything in particular. The only important thing is that that in your personal search you try to give back to the world at least what you receive in your soul, thanks to the art of your practice. So I admire and I learn from people that they're specialists in what they do, and this is beautiful. But they are not. I mean, is everyone choose their own path, and doing many things or doing one itself doesn't mean a lot for me. It's good that you do your things with serious and humble, and you dedicate your time to something with love. That is the main thing, and I respect deeply who who specialize in one thing, or and I admire it too. In the same way, I admire people that they specialize in million things.
Okay, so given the current situation with the pandemic and its effects on professions across the world, how has this flexible mindset assisted with you and your peers with prevailing through these difficult times?
This in these pandemic times, for I have a fixed job, but I also playing some other ensembles through Europe, and now is really we are through difficult times, like everybody. But I have the greatest luck because here in Spain the orchestra is still playing with decent masks and with and without public. That is something very good in comparison with other orchestras that they cannot go to work.
Yes,
But I'm
yes.
also lucky because I work in Germany with an incredible ensemble that goes the Balthasar Neumann ensemble, Balthasar Neumann choir ensemble. That is a great orchestra founded by the Thomas Hengelbrock, that is also a great human being and conductor, and a great staff, that they make possible that we go work like before, with a very intelligent health protocol. That means that we do PCR tests before leaving our country because we meet from all Europe and then the place we are going to perform. PCR test there when we arrive, hotel just for us. We keep on the stage masks the first day until the third PCR, and then we play without masks and without distance. Like the picture we are facing now, this is in
Wow.
Dortmund in the middle of the pandemic, and we are playing with choir and no distance. So, but
Wow.
this is because Thomas Hengelbrock and the staff they work really hard to defend the right to do your art. If you are safe, if you respect protocols, if you cannot be contagious to anyone, there is no law that is avoiding you to do your job. So flexibility is all that we need to travel different. We need to be in hotels locked. We can't meet every nobody outside of our group during the tours. We are all and each of one responsible for the health of all the group.
Yes, yes.
And flexibility and open-minded is, for example, in the Schleswig-Holstein festival, we had to play twice the concert at 6 and 8 in the afternoon in order to get the publicum to listen. So normal for some normal orchestras to play twice a concert will be a technical problem because of the times working time schedule,
Yes, yes,
many things. But if there is the only way that you can get the people to enjoy Beethoven Fifth, that's what we did, you need to play twice. So you play twice, and you play twice happy because you're really doing something, and you're feeling on the stage that you're part of something good that is happening. So to be flexible in these pandemic times and open with people that really fight to make that happen, uh, I think that is one of the best lucks. I'm very lucky to be part of it.
yes. Wow. Then, what? How was the protocol? Like just now you said, you cannot meet others other than your group, right? Then, like for example, if like if you were to buy food, do they provide the food or something?
Yes, there are many ways. For example, we go to an hotel that, for example, the hotel is just for us because now the hotels are not working that much.
Yes,
There are
yes,
not tourists around, so we have an hotel that is pretty much just for us. In case there are other guests in the hotel, we are not going to the breakfast like normal hotels that you have for breakfast buffet. So we get our breakfast and our room. So we do breakfast in our rooms. The rooms are not cleaned during the tour, so we avoid that the cleaning people are coming to every room and
yes.
maybe
Wow,
bringing COVID to each other. From the moment you leave your room, you wear your mask and you go to the rehearsal room. Inside of the rehearsal room, if we are already after the third PCR test negative, we can take out the masks and playing without distance, and nobody comes into the rehearsal hall. And as soon you leave the stage, you wear your mask. If you go to buy food outside, if it is not provided by the organization, you wear your mask. You avoid to meet friends or family or anybody outside of our group. You go back to your hotel and you stay with the or with yourself or with people that they have negative tests like you.
wow.
Actually sounds complicated, but it's all about willing of doing things and political willing that this is happening, because going to the concert halls that they say no, we can do the concert, and then the staff of the Balthasar Neumann is going there and say no, look, we can play, we are ready to play, we are all negative, we are ready. So as the manager Christina Schonk says always, I understand that, but I don't accept it. We go there and we play.
Wow.
So and this is making the difference. It's making the difference because people you can see when people get to the concert, like in Dortmund, there was 700 people instead of I don't know 1,500, just half of the possibilities because of the COVID distance in the
Yes,
publicum. You could see that the people that they were listening, they were feeling something different. And for us also to play for people. So it's very important that the wheel of working, art, playing, performing keeps rolling, even if it's slow, even if it is one concert a month. But we can't allow it to stop.
yes, yes,
We
yes,
need to
yes,
do
yes.
everything in our power to keep performing.
Yes. Wow. Okay, so now I will be asking the final question for this interview, and then we'll move on to the Q&A session.
Okay.
So, what do you think of JPO and the activities that we are doing right now?
I think that is essential. It's essential to share with people and with kids. It's much more important through something that is not giving you a prize, a cup, a trophy.
Yes,
For
yes,
example, if you share with kids about music and to make people from different countries, cities, economic and social situation to share a desk, because behind the desk doesn't matter if you're a millionaire or if you're an orphan.
yes,
Behind the desk and playing, we are all the same, and
yes,
we are
yes,
willing to play together with people that maybe we don't know, with people that they have different situations in an orchestra, and then you share for something, for a common goal
Yes.
that is just an
Yeah.
applause. It's nothing else than that, but it's giving to kids the opportunity to be on a stage that is very important. Looks like to
Yeah.
be on a stage for people that they never imagine to be on a stage. For normally in many countries still that the classical music is just for chosen people who can pay that, who can afford that, and to be on a stage you need to be special. And actually we are all special. We have
Yes.
all something to share, and it's not a mountain that is in the top, just few people are. There is a space for everyone. So to be given the possibility to be on a stage, to be one of the persons that is bringing happiness, touching and connecting with the publicum through the untouchable. You're going directly to the soul of people by being one, playing violin in an orchestra of kids that they never expect to do that before. I think it's giving to each one of them, of the orchestra members, an unique and incredible experience. And I think education on that, on feelings, on sharing, on respecting the others, of accepting situations, different situations, and sharing common goals is the only key for making a new generation of kids that they will become adults, and they will know already inside of them without really be conscious that together we can do much better things than alone. Because it's also
Yes.
that as you play alone, you have some response, but you play with another 100 people and you make a
Yes.
rock and roll concert. So
Yeah.
this idea, no, and this is the basic of the Homo sapiens. The difference between the Homo sapiens and all the other
Yes.
Homo erectus and Neanderthal is that we could do things together. So we need to work on that. It's very basic, and it's a lot of work, I know, to organize that. And actually I thank you for doing that. But it's important, it's essential, for because kids that they are busy with music, they develop many other skills too. So mathematics, drawing, communication, learning, concentration. So to learn music and to share a stage is the best gift you can give to a kid.
Wow. So, do you have any advice for us? Like, what can we improve? Do you have any thoughts or any advice you can give us? You would like to give us?
Keep working on that, even
Yeah.
in the darkest moment, even in the middle of the pandemic, even when you feel that tired, keep doing that, because I think it's the fountain of the eternal youth. Is the only way to feel, to keep feeling alive when you see a kid on the stage smiling, and the family listening to the concert, and with tears in their eyes, that they see the, they are, like, proud of their kids. Doesn't matter the social situation, is the best social rescue you can ever do. So please keep doing that. And if you need anything from this side of the world, or I go there, whatever it is, you can count on me.
It's a pleasure to hear such words from you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
So now we will move on to the Q&A session. And then for the first question, it appears to be Spanish. So uh, I do not know how to read Spanish. So it's in the chat here.
Yes,
Can you see it?
from Christian Esquivel.
Yes.
Ah, Christian Esquivel is a great bass player, a tango player in Argentina. I learned a lot sharing Tijuana Festival in Mexico with him. You have specialist people, and he's one of them on tango music, where the bass has a very special role on it. And
Yes.
he's talking good about me. I'm a good bass player and a better person. So but he's a friend. So I don't know if to take it really objective, but he's great.
Okay, then we should move on to the next question. Is that okay?
Anonymous.
Yes. Hi, you were sharing about the diversity of using the double bass, playing different genre of music. So do you play on different kind of basses, like basses in different shapes and sizes, five strings, and also those electric basses? Would you say the technique of playing all of these are different?
Actually, no. It's almost for me. It's the same. The word technique. Uh, I used to have teachers that were teaching me technique, and I probably I use it. I don't use it that much. I prefer to think about the music, and the way that I can do it good. The way that I can do it good maybe is called technique, but it's just to focus the idea of what you want to get and how to get it. And it's not that I'm really switching from one technique to the other. You give me a bass, it's a five strings, okay, so I adapt to it. It's being flexible and open-minded again. Electric bass is that kind of different instrument that you need a different approach to it, but the important thing is what you get out of the instrument. So the most important thing is that you have a good idea, a clear idea for what you want to get, because music happens here, not here
Yes.
in your hands. So first you need to know what you want to get, and then your hands, they will react to what you have inside. And if they don't react, you need to stop 5 seconds and check what you need to do in your brain to make your hands work in that direction. But five string, gut strings, solo strings, big bass, small bass, electric bass, amplified, no amplified, they're just little flavors on the same path.
Yes. Wow. Okay, so the next question is, Professor, do you always travel and perform with your own instruments? Do you find it a problem to carry such a big instrument on your concert tour? And what are the challenges you have faced so far?
Whew, this is a nice question. Depends on the situation if I travel with my own instrument or not. For example, being member of the Balthasar Neumann choir and ensemble allows me to leave one five-string bass there. So I travel like a rock and roll star, like Michael Jackson, without bass, without bow, without anything, because I have everything there. And this is beautiful. But when I have to make solo recitals or concerts around the world, I fly with my bass, because the stuff I need to play, I need to be able to play in in my bass, because if the other bass, when I get there, the other bass doesn't respond, it's going to be stressful for me
Yes,
in the moment of
yes,
the performing.
almost
And
understand.
if you ask me what are the problems or the challenges I have to face so far, I think we can do a like 1 hour talk about it. But I think I faced all of them. I faced all of them, from the people that didn't want me to board to check in, from buying a flight ticket for the base and the base doesn't fit in the extra seat, and they base is broken by the long flights. Base, I missed the base. I lost the base for 2 days. I didn't know where it was, and arrived to my place like 2 days later. And this is one of the things we as bass players we need to face. But I tell you what, that will never stop me from trying to get to a place with my bass and to play all over the world. So it's one of the issues we need to deal with, but doesn't change our willing of doing. So it's not easy, but it's not impossible.
Yes. Wow. Then how do you usually, if you were to bring your bass and fly to another country, how do you usually bring the bass?
I do have a very special flight case, but special. I have a flight case that is made from Kevlar and fiberglass and
Wow.
against atomic bombs. but but it's always a moment when you see your base going into the belt. and you don't see it again until you land and you wait for that. And at the belt in the arrival airport to see it again and to open it and to see that it's
Is it
healthy
okay? Yeah.
and you can play that night. It's always a challenge, you know. I become like
It is.
5 years older every time. But it's a flight case. The bass should be in good situation. I just load the strings like a tone for the pressure, and I pray in all languages to all religions that everything goes good. And I go to the airport and do my most sympathetic face to the lady or the boy in the check-in desk and say hello. Yes. Sometimes I say that it's a cello, and it works easier. But
Oh,
um, but nothing special. I don't have any secret tricks. We need to face it. We go there and we need to play. So
wow.
please let me board in this aircraft. I need to get tonight to Tokyo. You know, I need to do it.
Wow. I cannot imagine because I play the cello and sometimes I do bring it through flights and it's already wow, imagine bringing a bass. Wow, it's far worse. I cannot imagine like how much you need to go through.
A
Wow.
lot, a lot. But you know, when after this, I will tell you a situation I had with an extra seat on my base in Lufthansa flight, and then I decided better a flight case and to send it with the
Okay.
luggage will be easier than an extra seat.
Oh, okay, okay. So now we'll continue. Now we'll move on to the next question. So, hello. What is your advice for someone who would like to pursue music majoring in double bass?
What you mean with would like to pursue music majoring in double bass?
Like, what advice would you like to give them for people who would like to main, who would like to play bass as their main instrument, just like you?
I would tell them that is the best choice they can ever do. Because bass playing, to play the bass, imagine you can play everything. You can play salsa, you can play tango, you can play jazz. Imagine to be a bass player on a big band. You alone with 50 other people that they follow you. If you can walk, they walk with you. So that's amazing. Or being in a symphony orchestra, or being a soloist, being a teacher. Bass is an instrument that, you know, you play oboe, that is a beautiful instrument, but you are very limited. What you can do with oboe, no much. But with bass, you can play everything. And another thing, on the stage, is the most beautiful instrument ever.
The mellow, deep sound from the bass.
Of course, to play bass is always good. We have another.
So, sorry.
There's another one. How do you have any suggestions for those musicians who lose their job and also those who affected emotionally due to the pandemic? This is a very interesting question. I understand perfectly to losing the job during the pandemic time and how people are facing that. And I have many friends, musicians, that they are struggling very hard in this moment. And you know there is an idea sometimes of being just freelance is a more free life. Actually, I don't feel like being freelance is more free because you depend on many things, not just on your talent, on your connections. Depends on situations like that. You have really, really bad time. But there is one thing in every big crisis in this world, even after war, music reflourished very strong right after. So I think all these situations, all these crises, and in especially this crisis now, is an opportunity for us to develop something new and better. And I will ask from the bottom of my heart to the people that they lost their jobs or they're affected emotionally for this. Like we are all affected emotionally from that, but I think that the question is about the people that really facing depression for this,
Yes.
thinking that the last big pandemia that we suffered was the Spanish pandemia and was 18 months long. That now with the vaccine and and the connection we have all over the world, I think that this is going to be over, or at least we will learn how to live with that sooner than 18 months. We are already like more than a year with that, or it's going to be 1 year. Well, almost there. So every day is one day less for this to become the new normality, if we can call it that way. And just we need to think day by day. I do it too, day by day. If you asked me, like before the pandemic, if I had a day off to make a recital, I will ask you to call me like 18 months before or 2 years before in order to put in my agenda. My agenda now doesn't look like that because we don't know what is going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's very important to change the way of thinking. We can't keep thinking like it was before. We need to be day by day. And the idea of surviving one day after the other and keeping things, family, healthy, and enough food to get to the next day, it's already a win. Just this little step by step, because we're used to think that the big steps, I buy the house, my kids, in 5 years I go to, in 10 years I do. This is not anymore. And I think this slap in our face is a positive thing. And then we need to think day by day, checking and being thankful that people around us, they're healthy. That is the main thing. And if they're not healthy, that is our focus, not the rest. And knowing that this is like a sun clock, that the sun is soon going to be over, or at least we will learn how to live with that. So day by day, one day after the other, like alcoholic people, sick people, and drug dependent people, day by day, no more than that. Is this is will take from us a lot of heaviness, thinking that just 24 hours, just one more day, just loving people around me, taking care, enjoying the sun, at least. The things that for us before they were like normal, they're not normal anymore. So I'm grateful. Every morning I wake up, I see my kids healthy. That's it. That's it. I don't need to know if I want to have a concert or not. Or, this everything can change. So from here to that people, to these people, I send all my energy, and if I can help in any way, you know how to find me. And thinking day by day that we are all in the same situation, and please not to feel like it's just happening to you. It's happening to all of us. We are all dealing with that. So share that feelings with other people, and you will feel that together we are more strong than alone suffering the situation.
Yes. Okay. So I believe that with that question, we will be coming to the end of this interview. So on behalf of JPO, we would like to thank you for dedicating your time and energy into this interview, Mr. Diego.
It's my
So
pleasure. Thank you very much
although
for giving me.
despite the pandemic that is happening right now and everything, we really thank you for dedicating your time for us.
No,
And we
it's
will
because
also
of the pandemic we need to work more on these things. We need to
yes.
be there present. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Okay, and then we would also like to thank everyone who has attended and supported this program. You guys have been very great. And I hope you guys got the answers you wanted. And for those who are still waiting for your answers, please stay as Diego Zecharies will answer your questions through the Q&A below later. So please check for the link at our JPO Facebook page and stay tuned. For anyone interested to share any of our program with your family and friends, it'll be on our Facebook page, Jesselton Philharmonic Orchestra. And now I will lead the prayer to end tonight's program. Please pray in whatever faith you believe in for the COVID 19. Dear Lord, we lift to you our concern for people who are more likely than others to become severely ill from COVID 19, the elderly and people with chronic health conditions. Protect them from harm and be their comfort in this time of uncertainty, and for many, preventive isolation from loved ones. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
So that will be all from us. Thank you, Diego, and thank you, everyone. Goodbye.